Attacking moves in Pokemon have PP, accuracy, base power, and most of the time, some kind of secondary effect. These are things like lowering your opponent's stats, raising your own stats, or inflicting a status condition. Some moves though don't have any secondary effect at all and just deal damage. But what if that wasn't the case? In this video, I'm going to be coming up with secondary effects for these attacking moves that currently don't have any at all. Moves I'm counting as already having secondary effects are any moves that interact with either Sheer Force or Serene Grace, as well as moves with any of the following properties. I will also be excluding any moves with a base power of 60 and below, since most of them are early game moves, and any signature moves since most of them are really strong and don't need secondary effects. I will not be counting any of the following properties as secondary effects: having increased power in weather or terrain unless it is a unique power increase, making contact, or being part of a move category. I will be going by the Gen 9 effects and learn sets of these moves, so no Dexited moves either. And overall, just keep in mind that some of these secondary effects I'm making are supposed to be specific and niche to not make them overpowered. First, we have Aqua Tail, a 90 base power, 90% accurate, physical water move. This move is almost completely outclassed by Waterfall and Liquidation, which have comparable base power but 100% accuracy and decent secondary effects. The obvious answer is giving it a 10% chance to lower the target's attack by one stage to mirror Play Rough, which has the same base power, same accuracy, and same PP, so let's do that, but also one more niche effect. I propose not having its damage reduced in harsh sunlight to give it some kind of use over Waterfall and Liquidation. The explanation could be that the water is more of just a coating to protect the user's tail, and the whipping force of the tail is the main source of its power. Next, we have Dragon Claw, an 80 base power, 100% accurate, physical dragon move. This is the most mid option for physical attacking dragon types since Scale Shot raises speed and Outrage has higher base power but is just more committal. In my type buffing video, I suggested that Dragon Claw should have a high crit ratio, but due to the existence of Dragon Cheer that raises a dragon type ally's crit ratio by 2 stages, a high crit ratio might be a bit too powerful of an effect. So instead, I'd suggest a 50% chance to raise the user's accuracy by 1 stage. The existing status move Hone Claws raises attack and accuracy since the user is sharpening their claws and therefore becoming more precise, so Dragon Claw having a chance to do that could make sense. This could combine decently well with Dragon Rush, a powerful but inaccurate physical dragon move at 75% accuracy that would get boosted to 100% at +1 accuracy. Next, we have Dragon Pulse, an 85 base power, 100% accurate special dragon move. Dragon Pulse is a pulse move, so it has its power boosted by 50% from Mega Launcher, and another effect that most pulse moves have is that they can target anyone in a triple battle. However, triple battles are no longer in the game, so I don't consider Dragon Pulse as having a secondary effect anymore. I would add a similar effect, which is being able to ignore redirection. There are very few elements of counterplay to redirection in doubles, with safety goggles at least letting you ignore Rage Powder, but nothing can let you ignore Follow Me except for 1 signature move and 2 signature abilities, so this would be a neat effect to have. Next, we have Drill Peck, an 80 base power, 100% accurate, physical flying move. This move is very anatomy based since you need a beak to be able to use it, making it limited to bird-like Pokemon. However, almost every Pokemon that gets Drill Peck either gets Brave Bird or has higher special attack, so they wouldn't really want to use it. A secondary effect that I think could give it a niche is giving it the effect of a built-in Infiltrator, which is that it bypasses screens and substitutes. After all, you are drilling into the opponent with your beak. If Drill Peck had this effect, Galarian Zapdos, Skarmory, and Corviknight might want to use this move, but overall, they'd probably still just want to use Brave Bird since it has 50% higher base power. Next, we have High Horsepower, a 95 base power, 95% accurate physical ground move. In singles, this move is just a worse Earthquake since it makes contact and has lower base power and accuracy, but in doubles, it has more of a use since it's single target as opposed to Earthquake, which hits all surrounding Pokemon including your ally, and it doesn't have its power halved in grassy terrain. I would suggest that high horsepower be added to the list of moves that interact with Minimize. In case you're unfamiliar, if a Pokemon uses Minimize, all of these moves will deal double damage and have perfect accuracy when used against them. When you take a closer look, they all revolve around crushing or slamming the target with the full force of one's body, and high horsepower definitely fits in that category. Next, we have Horn Attack, a 65 base power, 100% accurate, physical normal move. This move is just barely strong enough to be on this list since I'm excluding anything 60 base power and lower. Because it's so weak and pretty much entirely outclassed by Body Slam, I'm going to give it 2 secondary effects. First, give it perfect accuracy. At 65 base power, it is stronger than most non-signature perfect accuracy moves, but it's normal type, so it won't be hitting anything for super effective damage. Then, make it break protecting moves, giving it some use in doubles since it can be used to lift the effects of Protect and Wide Guard. However, with no priority and very few good users in Gen 9, this move probably still sucks, but this is something. Next, we have Hydro Pump, a 110 base power, 80% accurate special water move. The obvious secondary effect is to make Hydro Pump have perfect accuracy in the rain, but there is an issue with this. None of the moves that have perfect accuracy in rain or sun, or that bypass their charge turn in rain or sun, are water or fire type. Electro Shot, Thunder, Hurricane, Bleakwind Storm, Wild Bolt Storm, and Sandsear Storm are all not water type, and Solar Beam and Solar Blade are not fire type. Blizzard is ice type, and it does have perfect accuracy in snow, but snow does not boost ice moves like rain and sun do for water and fire. So, having rain boost Hydro Pump's damage and make it perfectly accurate would be a little too strong. Instead, I'd suggest adding an effect similar to Zeraora's Plasma Fists, which is that it causes all normal type moves to be water type for the remainder of the turn, because everything is soaked in water. Next, we have Mega Kick, a 120 base power, 75% accurate, physical normal move. This is another underwhelming Gen 1 physical normal move, which, spoiler, there are 5 of on this list. As of Gen 9, the only normal type to get this move is Slacking, which has the much more consistent double edge to use instead. So, I'm going to give this move a 50% flinch chance, which would be the highest flinch chance of any move in the game that's not 100%. Considering the fact that it's 75% accurate, it's really only a 37.5% flinch chance when accounting for the 25% chance to miss. None of the mons that get this move in Gen 9 get Serene Grace or any accuracy increasing moves, by the way, so I honestly think that this would be fine. Next, we have Mega Punch, an 80 base power, 85% accurate physical normal move, the third Gen 1 physical normal move on this list. The only normal type to get this move in Gen 9 is Regigigas, which has both Body Slam and Double Edge to use instead. So, I'd suggest giving this move a 50% confusion chance. Like my suggestion with Mega Kick, keep in mind that this move misses 15% of the time, so it's really only a 42.5% confusion chance. With this secondary effect, it would be more of a side grade to Body Slam rather than a complete downgrade, which is the goal for these Gen 1 normal moves. Next, we have Megahorn, a 120 base power, 85% accurate physical bug move. Bug has a lot of good physical attacking options like First Impression, Lunge, Leech Life, Pin Missile, and U-Turn, so Megahorn doesn't really see a lot of use. Heracross is pretty much the only user of this move in Gen 9, with Iron Leaves and Iron Boulder occasionally using it for coverage. What I suggest is to make it break screens, so Light Screen, Reflect, and Aurora Veil. The existing moves that break screens don't have super consistent logic as to why. It seems that Brick Break chops through the screens, Psychic Fangs bites through them, and Raging Bull charges through them, so I feel like Megahorn piercing through the screens and breaking them could make sense. Next, we have Power Gem, an 80 base power, 100% accurate special rock move. This is one of 3 special rock moves in the game total, with Ancient Power being weak and gimmicky, and Meteor Beam being strong but committal. I'm going to keep this one real simple and just add a 20% chance to lower special defense by 1 stage. This is pretty much the standard for special moves, with there even being special moves with higher base power than Power Gem that do have a chance to lower special defense. Bug Buzz, Earth Power, Energy Ball, and Psychic, although they are only a 10% chance. Shadow Ball is the same base power as Power Gem and does have a 20% special defense drop chance, so I feel that adding this to Power Gem is very reasonable. Next, we have Power Whip, a 120 base power, 85% accurate physical grass move. This move is actually identical to Megahorn except for typing, since they are both physical and make contact with the same base power, accuracy, and PP. Grass is slightly better offensively though, since it hits water and ground for super effective, which is quite valuable. I'd give Power Whip the effect that it frees the user from binding effects, so infestation, whirlpool, and things like that. The description states that the user whirls its vines, which could be interpreted as a spinning motion that frees the user from being bounded. Other moves that do this, like Rapid Spin, also remove hazards, but that's a bit too powerful of an effect to give to a move with this high of base power, so let's just stick to removing binding effects. Next, we have Seed Bomb, an 80 base power, 100% accurate physical grass move. Like Bug, Grass has a lot of really good physical attacking moves, with Wood Hammer, Trail Blaze, Petal Blizzard, Leaf Blade, Grassy Glide, Bullet Seed, Horn Leech, and some signature moves. Seed Bomb though is just about the most underwhelming out of all of them, since it's only 80 base power with no secondary effect. I don't want to make its secondary effect too good, since Calyrex Ice gets it, but I think a neat thing to add is the effect of Flame Burst, where it slightly damages the Pokemon adjacent to the attack, specifically by 1/16 of their max HP. Seed Bomb fires projectiles that explode, so damaging the next Pokemon slightly could make sense. Next, we have Slam, an 80 base power, 75% accurate physical normal move, the 4th Gen 1 physical normal move on this list that is once again just outclassed by Body Slam and Double Edge. Like I did with High Horsepower, I'd add Slam to the list of moves that interact with Minimize, since it very much fits within the theme of those moves. I'd also give Slam the Stomping Tantrum effect, which is that it doubles in base power if the user's last move failed. Slam does have 5 higher base power than Stomping Tantrum, but it also has 25 less accuracy and is normal type, which is way worse than ground offensively. The lower accuracy could be argued to be a good thing, since it means it will fail more often, so it will have the doubled power boost more often. Overall though, it's probably still a bad thing, but this is something that gives Slam a unique use. Next we have Strength, an 80 base power, 100% accurate physical normal move, the 5th and final Gen 1 physical normal move on this list. At this point, you know the drill, it's just a worse Body Slam and Double Edge. I think you'll like what I came up with for Strength's secondary effect, which is that it pushes Stealth Rocks from your side to your opponent's side. This is in reference to its effect as an HM, where you use it outside of battle to push around rocks. If there are no rocks on your side, the move still deals damage but has no secondary effect. If there are rocks on your side and your opponent's side, same thing. Damage but no secondary effect since your opponent already has rocks. Lastly, we have X-Scissor, an 80 base power, 100% accurate physical bug move, the 6th move with 80 base power and 100% accuracy on this list. I'm going to keep this one real simple as just adding a high critical hit ratio, something that I thought this move had for a while. A lot of existing slicing moves have a high crit ratio, and the fact that X-Scissor doesn't is pretty lame, since it's literally just a worse version of Leech Life and Lunge, which have the same base power, same accuracy, but have secondary effects. And those are secondary effects I'd give to moves that don't have any at all. Let me know which ones you liked, or if you have any other ideas for secondary effects that these moves should have. Here are all the moves I excluded for the reasons I mentioned in the intro that I figured would be fun to share here to see if you have any ideas for what secondary effects they should have. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, just leave a nice comment since I do read all comments. You can also click the join button and become a member for 99 US cents a month to get a badge next to your name in early video access like all of these lovely people. If you want bonus content, check out my second channel, Extra Bell, where I post videos I've scrapped from the main channel, as well as more casual, unscripted videos. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.